Is it ever okay to violate core values to achieve a goal?
Might we at some point compromise our values? Compromise our values to reach a goal? I think that changes the answer a little bit, right? We might compromise. You remember that question that we had about the people that are snakes and how do you work with them? You know, should you work with someone that's dishonest or backstabbing, but they're a cog in the machine of your team? Mm-hmm. And your values, right? They might be to call the person out and say, hey, you're a backstabber and I don't want to work with you. That might be what your values tell you to do. But your goal, and if you do that, first of all, you don't progress. Your team doesn't work better together. They work worse together. And so in the long run, you don't win because you stuck hardcore with your values. And by the way, if you stick with if you bend your values, you compromise your values a little bit to get through this transitional period, now you get promoted. Now you get in a situation where you can fire that person that's a backstabber. Mm-hmm. So you have to compromise your values as a person a little bit. And, you know, there's the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So you might compromise your values short term, working somebody that you're not totally aligned with value-wise. And again, if you're going to get the long-term strategic goal, well, then maybe it's worth it because it's going to put you in a position where you can then hold your values better from a senior position or from a more powerful position. So you might compromise them a little bit. Again, these are small compromises, and you should have things. Of course, we got things that values that you're never going to compromise on. Right. Hitting a girl. Yeah. Right. You should never hit a girl, right? Never hit a woman. Now, with that being said, if there's a woman that's about to do something truly evil, you know, kill a child or some kind of a terrorist act, and the only thing you have that you can stop it is to hit her, well, guess what? She's getting hit. You know what I mean? So even then, your value of never hitting a girl can be compromised momentarily while you stop a child from being murdered or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we hold a value. We always want to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. But if you had for an extreme example, if you had some kind of a state secret and you got captured, well, of course you might lie about that. And there's little, I mean, we could get into a whole like white lie discussion on stuff. Mm-hmm. Like when your wife asks you, how's the chicken? And you want to tell her it's the most dry and charcoal tasting item that you've ever put in your mouth. That's not going to help you long term.
No.
So I might compromise my values of being truthful and tell her, it's pretty good. Can I have some more ketchup over here? Can I get some more barbecue sauce on this?
Ketchup on chicken.
And I'm going to go grab some more water. Would you like some? So I might compromise my values a little bit there. So I guess what I'm saying is, and people, this is the thing, people probably what they think of my persona. Because people will think, oh, Jocko's going to be this uncompromising, never settle, allow no slack kind of person, right? That's what people want to see me as. But the reality is reason, right? Reason and thought can override values for the right reasons. And that's why we can think. That's why we can think. And there's actually times when holding your values goes against your values. So if you always back up your friends, right? You always back up your friends, but then your friend does something that's totally immoral and is against your values. Well, then you can't hold the value of backing up your friends because guess what? They did something immoral. They did something that was wrong. And so if you held your values, you'd be not holding your values. That's the dichotomy there, right? That's the dichotomy. And the additional dichotomy is you hold to your values, right? You hold to those basic principles that you believe in, but at the same time, you've got to apply logic and reason to them to make sure that they are supporting your long-term goal and your long-term values. because you don't want to make a hard stand on something that costs you everything, where now in the future you can no longer manipulate any more situations. That's one of the things that makes leadership and life hard, is that it isn't black and white. It isn't black and white. It's gray. And so our decisions on these very things, these are the challenges of leadership. And there's no way, right or wrong answer of saying if it's right or wrong to violate your values to achieve a goal. That initial question, there's too many variables in that. There's too many variables. But start with this part that I started the whole answer with. Align your values with your goal. That's where you start. And then you use reason and logic and thought to determine your actions based on the situation weighed against your values. You have to think.
Yeah. So, given what you're saying,
Yes.
it's less like just values, like you have a dinner plate with here's my values kind of thing. It's more of a hierarchy of values. So you will violate your values if it's on, level 2 for a level 4. You know what I mean? Like I'll knock a girl right out if it's in the way of my higher value, which is
Protect your family.
protecting my family, kids, all this stuff. Same thing with
Girls, don't mess. Ladies out there, don't mess with that girl's family.
Yeah, please don't.
Coming at you.
Obviously, same thing with the ratting on your or backing up your friend.
Yeah.
My value is backing up my friend. That's level 2. The whole immoral thing, assaulting a girl. I don't know, whatever
Yeah.
That's level 4. So sorry, number 2. I'm going for number 4 kind of. So it's like a hierarchy.
Yeah, you got a little hierarchy of values. And there's some, obviously there's some that I can't even, you could give any of one of your highest values that you could come up with, and you could sit here and theoretically come up with a situation where you would sacrifice that value.
Yeah, and that's the hierarchy.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So that's why we're humans. We have the ability to think. We have the ability to reason. And sometimes you might have to compromise your values a little bit to survive.
The higher ones.
Right.
Yeah.
To survive and get so that you can long term carry out your values to a higher degree.
Yeah.